Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Enter the Atmosphere. We got a killer show this week. I got a bunch to tell you about. First up, we're going to have Chrsitine Thomas on here today. So happy to have her. Can't wait you guys get to hear what she's got to say. And then we got a little bit of news about our good buddies, the Time Jumpers. All that's coming up real soon. Hang in there. Here we go.
Let's do it. I'll try my best.
Okay.
Put in the Atmos theme.
Hey guys, welcome back. First, I need to tell you about my night last night. I got to go see the Time Jumpers, and it was their 25th anniversary. And I'm telling you, those guys are off the chain. Here's a little piece. Check this out.
Why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? I take my lips. I want to lose them. Take my arms. I'll never use them.
If you haven't heard of the Time Jumpers before, it's Western swing at its finest. They've been nominated for 6 Grammys, won a Grammy. The band is just some of the most pristine musicians in this town. And then Wendy Moten singing, good Lord. I mean, the girl's just amazing. So if you've been to Nashville and you've been up and down Broadway, you haven't really been to Nashville unless you've gone to 3rd and Lindsley on a Monday night and heard the Time Jumpers. So next time you're down, you got to come check them out. And God bless those guys, and I hope they have another 25 years. They're amazing. So, all right. I've been waiting for this for a while. My buddy Chrsitine Thomas from Dolby Laboratories. Hey friends, this is Jeff Huskins here. Welcome to the Enter the Atmosphere. And I'm so happy to introduce my very first guest, the one, the only, Miss Chrsitine Thomas. She is the, give us your exact title so I don't screw it up from Dolby.
Oh, I am the head of music partnerships.
Yes, yes. This is, if you're in the business of Dolby Atmos and you're a mixer and you haven't heard her name, then you need to know her name and you need to meet her. She is, she gets things done and she helps us out as engineers, and couldn't exist without her and her wonderful company. So,
Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me. It's my sincere pleasure to be here with you today.
this is fun.
I'm so
This is
excited about
fun.
what you're
Yeah,
doing
I
with
know.
your show.
It's
It's
cool. It's
fantastic.
going to be a blast.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so honored to be here. So if you don't know, so my team, we say we enable the music industry with our technology, but really what we work with is you and mixers and producers who are making beautiful music every day. Really leveraging this as an art medium, and it's yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. There are a couple of things I know you and I love to talk about, and every time we talk, we just riff for hours. So I would love to ask you how you are approaching introducing artists to Dolby Atmos.
That's a good question. Well, I'll give you a little background of you know this, but they don't. So I first came here to we're in BMG here in Nashville on Music Row. First came here right at the beginning of COVID. We found this spot in the building and decided to build this room out and go for it. So, and since then, my very first artist that they gave me was the unbelievable was Jason Aldean. So started with him, and we had several conversations about that as we were doing it. And
did?
so I got to do the making and the Georgia record on him. And then after that came Lainey Wilson, which, just became ACM Album of the Year. So we've done things like, I just did the Mammoth record, the for Wolfgang Van Halen, Eddie's son, and it's...
Oh, Justin.
Oh, yeah, just a second. Well, that guy is just amazing. He played everything on the record, and every instrument, every bass, drums, guitars, the whole 9 yards. And it was just a blast to work on. Unbelievable talent. I mean, you can't believe this one guy doing all that. So anyway, so but it's fun. We get to do all kinds of different genres here, and I'm not exclusive to BMG. They always come first because we're in their building, and um,
And
but I
they're
work
doing incredible work. I mean,
unbelievable.
absolutely
John
incredible.
Loba, and I work with him, of course, here, and then Dan Gill, who's the big cheese out in Los
a
Angeles.
tremendous champion.
Yeah,
I like you so much. The nice thing about talking with you is that when we first met, I remember being struck by a few things. One, you were genius. I mean, you were so no, but you were look, you're a wonderful human, which is very important to me and to us. You're a talent, which is such a it's a gift not only for you, but for truly talented folk to want to work in our medium. That means everything for us, you know. And you know me, you know how I feel about you, but this is a pretty emotional conversation for me. And I think the other thing about it is that you're intelligent, highly gifted, and what you do with music, it leverages all of those things.
wow, follow that. So this comes up a lot. Artists will, I'll hear from their management or from the record label that I hate Atmos. It's, I hate to even say those words, but that they don't like it and they had a bad experience with it. I know how I deal with it, but I'm sure everybody loves. What do you say to someone that says that?
Yeah. First of all, fair. In that I have a long answer to this. I'm gonna give you
It's okay.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you a lot of words. So first you probably need to know why I think that Atmos matters myself. Because I think that a matter of integrity in the music industry, it's about how did I take this job? I'm asked that quite a lot on the side. I heard a piece of music and it broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it, I'm doing it now. And I have a really emotive response to it. It means a lot to me. My hero piece is this, it's a very common answer actually in the industry, which I love, is Rocket Man. I was there in a room with just a couple of guys in 2015, and it changed my life because all of these experiences that I didn't understand I was having sonically in the world became crystallized in the listening of this piece. And also my purpose, my meaning.
Yeah.
So I do this because I love it. That's my answer. And if they don't love it, my immediate response is, how did they hear it? Because I think it's really interesting. You go to a movie and you watch it with the right folks or by yourself in the right venue at the right moment, and you absolutely love it. And you have a different experience, and maybe that's not the case. So I ask how they experienced Dolby Atmos for the first time, because that's really fundamentally important. In my experience, to have a truly emotive experience, you need to be in a safe space, in an environment that you trust, with folks that you trust. And so my suggestion is always, can you get to a studio with a person that you can feel comfortable with? Or a car, really, is the other way that we really relax when we listen to music in an automotive environment, and that's real. And so can I get a car to you, or can you get into a studio with someone that you trust in an environment that you trust and have a truly immersive sonic experience? Because I think what people forget too when we're introducing something new is that the conditions are so variant, right? And we know that, but we accept that in stereo. We understand that headphones are not the studio experience.
True.
But we're listening to something new, and we have a pair of headphones, and we forget that fact. And so I mentioned it, and I often talk about it. But it matters which speaker system you love and which, right? Which
in terms of whether that's your studio or your home listening environment or your automotive experience.
Sure.
It matters. And so I would say, how did they hear it? And can we please have a conversation where they might be open to being reintroduced to it in a venue, in an environment with a person they trust? And I think that's what you do, Jeff.
I try to after the headlock.
I'm a little small for the headlock. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure I have the
I give the old
muscle.
Indian burn.
I have the shoes. I don't know if I have the muscle.
Yeah, it's usually, and this is horrible, but I've actually spoke to artists before that the first time they heard Atmos, they heard it on a cell phone like this.
Mm.
I'm like, what?
And it's a very, very good experience on that cell phone again, right?
Yeah.
As compared to what they've lived in the past.
Yeah.
Very good, but not a studio
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not a car.
Now, I'm talking about they literally had the phone with nothing plugged in, playing through the little micro little speaker in the phone.
I hear you.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, because kids have a tendency to listen like that.
Yeah, I hear
they
you.
do
I hear
that.
you. But I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you the true story. So when Apple first came out with Dolby Atmos on the phone, I thought bananas.
Yeah.
And then I held a friend's phone next to mine and I played the same song. And given creative differences, yes. But I was having a visceral experience,
Yeah.
right? From this phone playing Dolby Atmos. So your point is absolutely right. But again, it's all perspective and it's math. To your point,
Yeah.
it's a phone. It is not a studio, which is where they're used to auditioning their music. And
that's
so I
right.
think we just have to remind them that it's important to spend the minute in the environment that they normally audition their music in, and in that way review it.
And the beauty is, like, I know in Nashville, you said how many studios are online now?
I think
Like
there are
40?
45. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
cool.
awesome.
I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's for me. There's so much work to go around. It's like I'm excited to. I mean, I've got engineers that I love. I'm like Olnowski, Manny Marquis. I mean, on and on
Magic.
and on. And there's so many guys that are really getting into it. And there's guys that need not getting into it, but there's. It's definitely.
I think everyone should get in this
Yeah,
sport.
that's
Give
right.
everyone a run for
That's right.
their money.
That'll-
Like, make
that'll
it real.
try, and
Yeah.
it is a little bit of an investment at the beginning from an engineering standpoint. You got speakers and you got room tunings and you got blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, it I'm here to tell you it will pay for itself very quickly, and it's just an amazing experience, and there you go.
Well, we appreciate you.
A couple of things that I'm really exploring is the Atmos first kind of approach to mixing songs, and I know it's controversial with a lot of older engineers and people that are around. When you start mentioning Atmos, then to mix, they want to stab me with a fork knife.
I like to say creating an Atmos, and that's because I thought Picasso was a genius, and so he was. Jack and Diane in stereo is how I grew up.
Correct.
So I don't think that this is about first being better. I think this is also, and I love creating an Atmos because this is like taking a high-res picture with an excellent camera. When you fold it down, inevitably you're going to have extra detail, all of the things that you imagined when you created. But ultimately, it's not my story, it's your story. So why create an Atmos?
Yeah. Well, I found that when I mix an Atmos first, every little detail of every little thing I can put in a place and and when I fold it down, you can hear it. There's nothing like this. I love mixing. I've mixed for years and years in two, and that's fine. It's great. It's fun. There's parts of it I hate. Parts of it everybody hates, but.
Don't tell anyone.
But yeah, but as far as
watching you.
yeah, just tweak on a snare drum for about 5 hours and come back to me. No, I can truly say this from the start to the finish. Even though I've got my assistant Cliff that helps me with getting things into my template and getting started. Even doing that, this morning he was doing something. I went ahead and put one in, because that part's still fun to me too. There's not one part of it that I go, Oh my God, I gotta go do that.
Even the snare.
Even the snare drum. Yeah. And what's neat, you want to get into the tech stuff?
I do.
Okay.
I always want to get into the text. Let's go.
Let's do it. So, I have been experimenting for quite a while now. I've written a template. We actually tweaked on it yesterday. We're tweaking on it every day. It's constant. But where you actually go in the studio and you record and create music like you normally do. And at the end of the day, you usually have a Pro Tools session that's got how many ever tracks, and then the producer and the engineer, they go to town, cutting and chopping, fixing that, picking this, that process. Once that's done and it's time to go to the mixer, usually it goes to the guy that's going to two mix. Well, in this situation, if it comes to me, I'm going to start an Atmos. And what I mean by that is like, I work left to right, which in my case, in my template's drums to vocals. I like to do vocals last on 90% of the songs because the most important part of the song is usually the vocals. So just and everybody does it their own different way. But that for me, I get everything rocking and then I bring the vocals in and then we make that the center point of the mix. But when the only difference in doing this in Atmos first versus doing it and usually the questions people ask me, what about this? What about parallel compression? What about this? You can do all those things. A lot of people think you can't. For example, drums. That's usually the biggest question. So you have your kick, your snare, your hi-hats, your toms, and your overheads and your rooms and things. So what you do is you place those into the spot that you want them to be in the room, where it fills up the room. When you're recording drums, you usually have overheads and then you have room mics further away. Well, place that in your room the same way. And do that before you start EQing and compressing everything.
So tell me something about this for you, because I have this philosophy that starting in Atmos is creative power.
Mm-hmm.
But is that true?
100%. And it's also, is it different than mixing in two? Oh yeah, it's way different. The best example that I use all the time is organ and piano. They're both in the same frequency ranges. Usually when you have an organ player and a piano part playing in a song, somebody's got to win. So someone's going to get, high pass filtered and the low end rolled off where the other one doesn't. Well, in Atmos, you just move it.
Everybody has their space.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and that's why Atmos first is so important. Here's why, because when you get stems from artists, those stems have been doctored and manipulated to work in a two mix environment, not in an Atmos environment. So I might get a piano that's thinner and all get out that really needs to be more full bodied to really hear the beauty of it. And so you kind of have to add things back in. But if you get that raw stem without that happening, then it's a whole new ballgame.
I love this one.
It's just, it's so amazing when you hear hearing an acoustic piano in this room in all its glory with the low end and nothing rolled off. Just let it be what it was recorded. Start there. If you have issues, and you fix it. But it's unreal. It's unbelievable. It's like you're standing there, So, I get geeked out about it, but it's so much fun. So much fun.
Okay, so you're maintaining you have all the power in the creative tool set. You have all the power that you need creatively, and then you're deriving your stereo mix. Now what do you do?
Okay, so you get the Atmos mix first. I always keep saying Atmos first, Atmos first. I hope that's okay. Sorry, Dolby. I hope y'all like that because I'm sticking with it. But Atmos first. When you get the mix right, here's the benefit. One, your artist comes in one time, your producer and the A&R people come in one time, and you play them the Atmos mix. So the way I'm doing it is I'll do the Atmos mix and I'll print what I call my pre-master, and then I'll click our magic little button and print the two mix re-rendered off of that, both in pre-master, not master. So then I'll take the two mix that was printed off the Atmos mix and master it traditionally, like, call Bob Ludwig or whatever, or sometimes I do it myself, but traditional master, Sterling or those guys, whoever you use. The Atmos mix, you bring it back into Pro Tools. I have a template for mastering it in Pro Tools with all these tricks that I'm going to get into several shows coming up, but and then I'll master it in Atmos, and then I'll print that as my ADM that goes to the DSP. So they got that, and then the two mix comes back from mastering, or we master ourselves. So you don't master them the same because it's a different thing. You want that glue of the two, as they say. But in Atmos, I found this, that you don't want to compress it as hard because we have so much more dynamic range. We're popping 18 LKFS, where stereos, we've done mixes at, one barely, just smashing it as hard as you can, and there's no dynamics. So once you get used to doing things in Atmos where in the typical Nashville country song is verse, chorus, bridge, breakdown bridge. When you come to that breakdown bridge in the song, it sucks you in and it really makes you feel, the songs.
Michael Romanowski talks a lot about how he loves the dynamic range as well. Yeah, he thinks that that's a real benefit also. And I love that you're talking about mastering, because I think it is really important that people acknowledge that importance of mastering. Whomever handles that for you, that beat exists, and it's a really, really important piece, and that it's important to address those masters separately.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of people get in a habit of just mixing the song, hitting 18 and printing and sending. You need to spend, the most important part to me is, it sounds great in this room and it's awesome, but that's not our customer. Our customer is listening on an iPhone through a pair of headphones. So at the end of the day, it's got to sound great in headphones.
That's right.
So my last process of the mastering process is, once I get the 18 right and everything's cool, then I go strictly to headphones, and I spend hours near far off in the in the binaural settings, and really getting that dialed in, because it can make or break a song. I mean, it really can make a big, big difference. So
I think the binaural settings are an important piece of what you do as well, because you're really thinking about the whole distribution chain, from the mobile device to the car, and all of the translation aspects across that ecosystem. So I think that's a really important note. I'm hoping you're going to get into that later as well.
one thing too, so since we're here, there's been a couple of, there's always misinformation out there that we try to clear up. And I know there's something that's been kind of floating around about not using the center channel at all. And and I call it the cricket. I'm sorry, but and I guess it's a personal preference if you like to put things in the center channel. I personally don't. And my theory is, since the 40s, when stereo hit, we've been listening to a false center, and our brains are wired that way. So when you hear a vocal singing coming out of a center channel speaker, it is odd. It is, I mean, I don't care how much you play with the big and you put the verbs and do the thing, it still doesn't, your brain's going, what the, so for me, it's still LR and false center, but it's not illegal. We'll say that, to put things in the center channel. And I know people are saying that certain labels around town have outlawed the center channel, and just
outlaws. Well, we are in Nashville.
Yeah. So just so we make that clear, you can use the center channel for anything you want. Is that?
You can use the center channel for anything you want. Yeah, I mean, look, I think there is a lot of storytelling right now, and it's a tough game, because I think certainly, yes, as Dolby, we're serious advocates of fidelity. Of course we are. Fidelity is about, the meaning of that word is really important. It's about interpretation, right? And it's about exactedness, if you will, of delivering the original intent of the experience. So we call it creative intent. The labels are doing their very best to honor that. The labels are a big name for a lot of people, right? And the humans across the labels are doing their best to try to ensure that the message is getting back from the artist through to the creative, and ultimately in the delivery path. So there are recommendations that sometimes come through as, to your point, letters of the law. But the letter of the law really doesn't exist. That is a matter of creative intent, and everyone is doing their best to honor it.
Good. That's important.
Yeah.
It's we've come so far as a group. I mean, when Atmos first hit the scene, there was a lot of crazy things going on because it was the Wild West, and with Apple involved at that time, it was like fast you can go, fast you can go. And now I think it's settled down to where everybody realizes this is an art.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point too. Talking about Apple for a second. So again, I said, 15 services globally, and all of that is absolutely true. And it's these partners are incredible, and we would be nowhere without them in terms of being able to deliver experiences to the end consumer, to the every consumer, right, of all
Absolutely.
generations and so on. Apple has done a remarkable job in adhering to fidelity as well. Is there a different sound, let's say, on one service versus another? Yes, but also we kind of forgot that there always was.
Yeah,
Right?
because it's actually getting so much better.
Yeah.
It's getting,
Oh, well, yes, for sure.
and we know why. There's a lot of good
They're
folks there
magical.
now.
They're
Yeah,
magical.
yeah.
But also, across speaker systems, across devices. That's redundant, but let's say across mobile devices versus sound bars and smart speakers and so on. And in cars, there's always a different sound. But really their attention, again, to creative intent, it is remarkable. And it's no small charter,
No. Just think about this. 3 years ago, if we would have said that the new iPhone 14 would actually measure your ears for personal HRTFs.
So cool.
What the heck?
So cool.
Yeah, that was
I
like
know.
science fiction to us back and now it's on everybody's phone. It's like
So
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
So everybody gets to experience it. Yeah.
Yes, it's a thrilling time. Okay, so bring me back to home. So we're at base camp, if you will. We've had outlaws and lawmakers. I think I've heard, right? We're in Nashville. I'm not wearing any sleeves. So it's hot here, folks. So you bring an artist in. I had the pleasure of meeting several the other evening. Really, really talented folks. You bring them in, and they've given you their mix, their love, their baby, their precious, right, piece of art, and you hit the button.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I do when that happens is, one, I take the two mix and I wear it out. I ride around, I listen at home, and really get myself familiar with the song and really try to hear the details of everything. So start there. Then the next thing is the conversation with the A&R and with the producer.
Right.
You get the run the gamut. You have some producers and artists and labels are like, we want it exactly like the two mix, just put it in Atmos. You hear that a lot, and that used to bum me out until I started doing it and trying to do it and working for guys like the brilliant Jay Joyce is that way, and he's like, hey, I want it exactly right, let's just make it bigger. That's hard, and it's a challenge because you go, wow, the blend and the things that they did to match that blend in a bigger environment sometimes can be, but it's a challenge. It's fun, and everybody's different. And then you get guys that are like, just do your thing, and then you get guys that go, I want them running around the room on a broom, this crazy stuff. So and all are fun. So it varies, but the artists are definitely now. I've noticed here recently that the artists are more. They're getting it. They're starting to go, oh, this is important. It is extremely important.
So I was talking to some of the team the other day, and they said to me, the key is to bring folks into Jeff's room and let him just play the song in Atmos. Just bring them in, and the first thing you do is play it in Atmos before they've heard their stereo piece finished.
Correct.
So you play it in Atmos, and they say,
I've had everything from literally standing in the chair over here, jumping up and down, going nuts, to crying, like uncontrollably crying, like it was like, what do I do here? But
you patting on the back.
yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
But we working on a record for the frontman the other day, and this song is really emotional. And I'm looking out the corner of my eye around the room, and there's 10 people in here, 10 grown men, just tears running down their face. Yeah, and I'm sitting up there trying to be cool, and then but yeah, it's an emotional thing. That's the part that makes it great.
Yeah, it is.
And it's so hard to describe to people. it's hard to describe 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. That's a hard thing to kind of really. You can say, oh yeah, you got it above you, you got it below you, and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, until you really experience it, it's hard to describe. The tools that we got right now. Just want to congratulate you guys on the new renderer. I love it. It's great, and it has made a big difference. I don't know what you did, but the fidelity side of printing, it's just so much better now. So.
I know a lot of folks who worked really hard on that. I very much appreciate that.
Well, you can tell them A+ in my book, because it not that the other had issues or anything. It was just this all of a sudden it's like wow.
That's so fundamental to who we are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because the team works so hard to connect with you and the feedback that you personally provide and how you are personally working and really the broader community. And I wonder if that's as well known as it really could be, but the team takes direct feedback from mixers and producers. They're listening, they're learning, and they're doing their absolute best to build a tool set that generates a piece of art that is something that you desire, that you're proud of, whatever it is, that we can get closer and closer to the vision that you had in mind. There's a lot of love that goes into that.
It's a lot of work, and I know it's uncharted territory too. It's not
sure
you're reinventing the wheel.
Sure. I mean, the evolution of sonic technologies is again no small thing, and a lot of just champion, brilliant, talented folks work on that every day. People who play instruments themselves, they're very proud and they love very much what they do for you and for everyone.
Well, it's changed my life. I mean, I say that. Hey, I was busy before, but good Lord, this is awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. We love to hear
It's funny when you can work 400 days in a row with no days off and being in here 12 to 14 hours a day and not be bored, not be like, I need to jump out a window. That's saying something. I mean,
there are no windows.
I know there are no windows.
It's complicated, but I hear you.
Yeah. But it's like, it's been just, I love it. I'm sold, So, but back to, so what do you guys got? What do you got coming up in the future? Anything we can talk about with Dolby that's?
I mean, I think, it's a few things. It's certainly enabling the experience. So it's ensuring that everyone understands that they can have this experience today. We love to say over 2 billion devices, and
that's awesome.
Certainly 9 and counting automotive companies, and 15 music services over 160 countries and over 800 music studios. So it's an incredible time. And you know how I feel about this. This is my passion.
It's your baby, yeah.
This is my baby. Yeah. Don't judge me. I do have 2 children, but also this thing that is it just we talk about it from a marketing perspective, but I will also say, truly, I think what moves me and what moves you is this deeply emotive experience.
That's all good.
I love this about musicians, right? Whether you're mixing or producing or performing, mixers are technologists. I like to call you Lego builders. So
Lego
build more Legos, please.
Come on, let's do it. Christine, thanks so much for being the very first guest. Couldn't think of anybody better. Yeah, it's got to be you. It can't be anybody but you. And thank you for doing this for me. It means the world. And hopefully we'll just keep doing what we're doing and
keep doing what you're doing, Jeff. It's my pleasure every day to work with you.
You're too kind. Thank you. Thank you, darling. Thank you. All right, you bet.
Don't forget, subscribe and click the bell down below and make sure you get notified for all of our upcoming episodes here at Enter the Atmosphere.